Welcome, everybody. This is Charlene Burke with Grow Because You Know. That's www.growbecauseyouknow.com. Welcome to Morning Mindset Cafe, where we gather to talk about pieces and parts of Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich. Today, the focus has been on pages 55 through 58. That's in Chapter 3, the Self-Confidence Formula. It's preceded by an explanation of how to actually develop faith. And I have here a short snippet of pieces and parts of those couple of pages that I think could well get us started on a great discussion. And it's that it is a well-known fact that one comes finally to believe whatever one repeats to oneself, whether the statement be true or false. If I tell myself something, the same thing over and over again, it doesn't matter whether it's true or not. If I tell myself the same thing, I'm going to believe it. So there's the principle. I have to acknowledge that the power in that. And when I do, then it makes sense that this is why we're asked to write out a statement of our major definite purpose and read it aloud day after day. Day after day. I have been faithful in doing that. Over the past few months, I've read my major definite purpose out loud in the morning and in the evening. I've read it twice. And it's working. Meaning that I'm becoming more and more I've become crystal clear in what the end vision is that I'm going for. I've been open to the plan so that when things have been presented to me, I now have a plan to reach that ultimate purpose and that major definite purpose. And I have been able to chunk that plan down into 30, 60, 90-day activities. So this is working. So the principle is, again, repeating to yourself the same statement. Whether it's true or false, we will believe whatever we repeat to ourselves, right? So now we come to the crux of today's discussion, which is your greatest weakness is lack of self-confidence. Hand raised here. It's an overall statement of all that had stopped me from succeeding to achieving my goals to this point is lack of self-confidence. Therefore, apply this principle with positive thought, repeating it daily, and make it become a working part of the subconscious mind. Yes, Matt, the man who thinks he can, the man who thinks he can't are both right. Which one are you? Excellent question, and an excellent way to summarize everything in there. Which one are you? Are you the one who thinks you can? Or are you the one that thinks you can't? We're going to go one step further, and that's the self-confidence formula. Now this one I have it typed out. Okay, I actually have it all typed out, and I printed it, and it's next to my major definite person. And I've not read this as often as I have my major definite purpose. But on it is straight from the book, that if you're having difficulty determining what statement you want to repeat regularly so that you believe it, and you don't trust anybody enough to take the statement that they give you, take it from the book. And take it from the book. It says, first, I know I have the ability to achieve the object of my definite purpose in life. Therefore, I demand of myself, here's the action. Demand of myself persistent, continuous action toward its attainment. And I here now promise to render such action. Second, I realize the dominating thoughts of my mind will eventually reproduce themselves in outward physical action and gradually transform themselves into physical reality. Therefore, now this I found interesting, I will concentrate my thoughts for 30 minutes daily upon the task of thinking of the person I intend to become, thereby creating in my mind a clear mental picture of that person. That I do, and that is part of my morning meditation. It is a meditation of being focused on my major definite purpose, what it looks like. What am I going to be? Who am I going to be when I reach that goal? Third, know through the principle of autosuggestion any desire that I hold in my mind will eventually seek expression through some practical means of attaining the object back of it. Therefore, I will devote 10 minutes daily to demanding of myself the development of self-confidence. Now, how interesting is that? The first 30 minutes is the focus on who I'm going to become, envisioning myself as who I am going to become when I attain my definite purpose, right? Now, how are we going to do that? I'm going to do that 10 minutes a day. And we're going to do that by reading something like this aloud, because the last statement is, I realized no wealth or position can long endure unless built upon truth and justice. Therefore, I will engage in no transaction which doesn't benefit all whom it affects. These are the things I will eliminate: hatred, envy, jealousy, selfishness, cynicism. And instead, we're going to replace those with love for all humanity, because I know that a negative attitude toward others can never bring me success. I will cause others to believe in me because I will believe in them and in myself. So what I'm seeing out of all of that is action. It begins with a thought, and I'm being told how I can control my thought to gain self-confidence, and that the action is what's actually going to produce the self-confidence. Steve, hi, good morning. Good morning, Dina. So good to see you. And Anne, Omar, you stuck in here on me. Good to see you here. Cafe Bustelo. All right, I don't have Cafe Bustelo. I've got fresh ground beans from down the road. So self-confidence formula is right there, how to attain it. And it really all starts with, we believe what it is we tell ourselves. So let's make a choice to tell ourselves something that's going to benefit us and benefit those around us. Let's change those thoughts from the negative that brings us down, that keeps us grounded and anchored in the bad way, that keeps us from moving forward, or becomes the ball and chain instead of an anchor. How about a ball and chain that says, well, I can't do that. I can't do this. If only that. And replace those with, I understand that I am lacking self-confidence. Therefore, I will change the way I talk to myself so that I will move forward with confidence, so that I can attain my major definite purpose. I can attain my chief aim, whatever that goal is that we're going for, and do what needs to be done. But it begins with the thought that turns into the action, that turns into the feeling, and there's the cycle. So seats open. Anybody wants to jump in and share? I'd love to know your thoughts. You know I do. Good morning, Matt.
Good morning.
How are you?
Very well. Very well. How about you? Good?
All right. Hang tight. Yes. That's the bad part about not having the headphones. Go ahead and keep talking, dear.
Okay. So yesterday I was at the Big Blab event, and I was talking about the accumulation of knowledge. Like if you take action, like you say, and you keep learning and you get more knowledge as you take action, at some point you're going to either make a mistake, or you're going to realize you don't know as much as you think you knew, or there's going to be a challenge. And I think if we, like you said, if you have that self-confidence, you keep taking action, your confidence might drop slightly because you realize there's more to learn, but then that's where the action comes in, so that you accumulate more knowledge. I think
Don't stop when the confidence drops, because you get the tinge of anxiety or fear or acknowledgement that I really don't know what the heck I'm doing.
Yeah, but if it kind of looks like the graph should look like an increase in knowledge and confidence, and then sort of drops, but then it slides up again, then it drops and slides up again. So you're continuously learning more despite that tiny drop in confidence. But that's healthy, because I don't think anyone's confidence continuously exponentially skyrockets when they're learning something. They reach points where they're like, I really, maybe slightly the I don't know what I'm doing phase, or I have a lot to learn, I better get get busy and start working hard and taking action.
See,
Like
there's the attitude that I hope everybody gets, because I love that attitude that says, I'm trying to adjust my speakers, which are now just everybody, these are now my headphones. Because Charlene's hearing aids aren't fixed. But the ability to say that when I hit the bump, that it's just a bump. It's a temporary defeat. It is not even that. It is, I just don't know. So what can I do to learn?
Mm-hmm.
What can I do to do it differently?
And it's important too to not take those negative thoughts that happen because of failure and take it personally. There's a whole discussion over seeing failure as an action or seeing failure as a result versus seeing it as an identity. And a lot of people, when they fail, they're like, I'm a failure. I should give up. I'm a complete failure. And that's not true. That's just a result. That's why you have to persist. That's why we have persistence, which we talked about.
So we start with the self-confidence, or the attempt to become self-confident, so that when we do make mistakes or we do fail or whatever we want to call it, when it doesn't work out the way we had hoped or planned or intended, that's not the end all be all. Instead, we're still working on that self-confidence and still moving forward with the idea that I am who I am, and this is what I am offering. I am going to engage in others. I refuse to have those other thoughts, but instead I will go forth with a willingness to be helpful, to be of service, to love my fellow humans. And in that realm, it's easier to handle the kind of stops that come up.
And you can only know what you're capable of if you take action and do something.
That's very true.
You can't like I took that hike in the Adirondacks, and I'd never done it before, and then I realized, wow, I can do a 9.5-hour hike up a mountain and down a mountain, and I've never done that before. And when you know what you're capable of, you can better tackle obstacles.
That definitely happens. It happens also when something unexpected gets thrown at you, and it's happened to me where I've surprised myself at how I've responded to it. Instead of letting it bury me, that got through it much better than I would have thought. And then other times where I didn't have any question about how I would tackle or respond, not react, but respond to something, and have others be so surprised. This always gets me. I'm so surprised you handled that so well. Well, I don't know how else I would have handled it, but thank you, I think.
You've just done it enough to know how to handle it well.
Well, again, it's not even done it enough. I mean, I'm talking about the big stuff, the medical diagnoses, or the loss of a home, or the things that happen from the outside, and suddenly having to pivot and requires response. And then other times, the same thing, something from the outside that hits that is just as tough, and I surprise myself in my ability to respond. That's all. Because no outside influence is, to me, the same. They all evoke different emotional responses. Good morning, Chuck. Good morning, RJ. Good to have you with us. Syed, Dina. No connections again. No connection problems. Would have been nice to have you on here. But if you want to try it, you're welcome to try. Anybody else who wants to jump in the seat? Let's talk about getting self-confidence, maybe using this formula, or the understanding that what we tell ourselves is what we believe. And there's Chuck coming up right after you, Matt, repeating, yes, absolutely. If you think you can, you can either do it or you can't. Which one are you? Do you think you can? Do you think you can't? It's in your hands to say it.
Yeah, but part of it is reading the positive thoughts in your mind, and then having the awareness to keep using those every single day and keeping them close to you. Because it's like when you're traveling somewhere and you get distracted and you go off the path. It's easy to go off the path. easy to get lazy and not easy to stay committed and be persistent.
That's it. How committed are you? I mean, the laziness comes in when there isn't that burning desire. I'll be the first one to tell you. I've started a lot of things and realized it's not that important.
One of my favorite leadership images from this Habitude series I read by Dr. Tim Elmore, and is a picture of a chicken egg and a piece of bacon, or like a slice of ham, and Tim Elmore goes, the chicken was involved and the pig was committed.
There you go. There you go.
I love that.
Good morning, RJ. Welcome.
Good morning. Good morning, Shirley. Good morning, Matthew. How you guys doing?
Good.
Doing well. Nice to meet you.
Likewise.
What say you about this self-confidence formula? You believe what you tell yourself.
It's true. Yeah, like self-talking. I had a gentleman years ago who told me, he said, people think I'm crazy, but I talk to myself because every day I have to try to motivate myself to get through the day. There's so much, especially nowadays in the world, there's so much, turn TV set on and you so much negativity. And,
There's an excellent point. Utilizing the principle to keep ourselves on the right path, right?
Right. Exactly. Yeah, I do some blogging and blog talk radio and stuff like that. And I started doing a show recently, and thinking about today, it's blogging to your heart's content, or from your heart's content, and content also spelled as, could be pronounced content.
Correct.
And everything you write about comes from your heart. Well, if you have something, a gift to give somebody in the world, then why not share it?
Oh, I'm
that's
all
like what you're doing today. You're sharing your experiences, your gift to help others, and that's really what it's all about. I think in this Blab platform and of course other social medias, it's amazing how now we're a smaller world, and we help out one another.
So the question comes in, though, that I have, because I wholeheartedly agree with you. We all have something to share, and a blog is the perfect place to share it, which is why I've been blogging for years. 10 years or something like that. The most recent one is Grow Because You Know, and that's really the most active one. And yet people will stop themselves from blogging, and they'll pull up every excuse possible, but it really does boil down to lack of self-confidence. They'll throw up excuses that I don't know what to say. I'm not sure what to focus on. What should I write about? And when I've been talking with people about their approach to getting themselves set up on a blog, because I help people with that, I recognize when, as I'm talking now, that really is that lack of self-confidence, because what I'm actually talking to them about is, well, those are excuses, because finding content is very, very easy. It's beyond easy today. I mean, trust me, the content in the world that I was in 10 years ago, you really had to be original. I mean, there was so little to find. And so this is interesting when you tell somebody this, and this is a response. One thing that I've offered as a way to blog is you find what you like or you have an opinion about, and you share a piece or portion of the article or the video or what have you that you're going to have an opinion about, and a link to wherever you got it. You can't copy paste, just a link out, right? But that piece that you have a thought about, and then the rest of it is your thoughts about whatever it is, that's that you've shared. And that's when fear comes in, because then it becomes RJ, then it becomes but I'm going to have to show myself to the world, and I don't have the confidence to do that.
Right.
Yeah. It's criticism. So we talked about that before, the fear of criticism and stuff, which about. But I do think part of that is learning not to identify with what you are creating and saying. It can be really personal, but you got to have the confidence to just put it out there.
And that's tough.
And say your truth. And that's very hard, because we're afraid that people, my favorite line is, we're afraid not to be imagined complexly. Like, we put something out there and we think people are going to see what we've created as who we are instead of who we are. So I think that's
darn them, they see it the way they see it.
Yeah.
Right.
What are you going to do?
Let me give a quick shout out and welcome to Dave. Good to see you. These names are fascinating, and I look forward to being able to pronounce them correctly. I'm going to say Sirach. Welcome, and my apologies if it's not correct. Good to see you, Zainab. Christian, so good to see you. Glad you're here. Thank you, everybody, for sharing and bringing in, letting people know that you're here. It's good to see everybody here. So when you are up against that lack of self-confidence, that what Matt, you just said about putting it out there and thinking, this is my perspective on something. How can we take this principle that we're learning today and help ourselves and help somebody else to make the step to do it? How can we put this into action so that somebody who is sitting in the audience, be it listening to the replay or in the comment section, is thinking that I would never have a blog. There's no way. I'm not going to get on the live stream. I'm not going to, and it's that lack of self-confidence. So what do you think? What can we do to help ourselves or them?
Well, if I may add, probably you being a experience you've had, certainly I've read some of your bio, just do it. That's kind of why I was speaking today, and I just had an idea today. I got on Blog Talk. It took me a couple of minutes.
That's so much easier said than done.
I agree. I will tell you something though. Actually, I have to leave here in a couple of minutes to go to my job, which is fine. Pay my bills.
I do too. I do too.
Yeah, excited, right? Hey, thank God it's Friday, right? The thing of it is, how many years did I go through with not doing it? Like, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, and not do it. Of course, I know, you're right. Yeah, write it down on paper, and then we heard all that. Go, talk to yourself, write down, put the goals on the mirror. I've done all that stuff. And you're right, Charlie. It's just a matter of doing it. But with a medium like this and having the, like your particular lab right here, you're able to, people are able to come in and hear a little bit about what you got to say. You may be making a difference. You mean that person may be shy or, fly on the wall and not even come in, but that one word you said to them inspire them. It's like, you know what? She's right. I think I'm going to go ahead and boom, but it's just continuously repetitive, hearing it over and over and over again. So finally you get it. I've heard over and over again. I've done radio shows. I've been on regular radio. I've done DJ's wedding, done all that stuff. But, if you're not happy, if you're not totally content with what you're doing and not passionate about what you're doing, then, it's all for nothing. But they can find out their passion. And even if it's, weeding, mowing the lawn or
okay, so let's tighten this up just a little bit because I heard a couple of things there and I want to make sure I heard them correctly.
Sure.
The first thing I heard was that one way that we can help others to get where we are right now is to show them what we're doing right now, but also to tell them how we got here.
Mm-hmm.
So that they may recognize themselves and say, oh yeah, now I'm ready to receive the message, which is I can really do this. That's not what they say, but they say, oh, I can identify with that. And I think I'm just going to go ahead. She may be right. I'm going to try this. Or RJ may be right. I'm going to try this. Then the second thing I heard there was that even though what you were doing, you weren't passionate about, you did it anyway. And through the doing, you eventually found your passion. And I heard that loud and clear for me because that's how it worked for me. I didn't start my business based on anything other than the passion to get the heck away from where I was.
Right.
Right. Yeah, I mean, you want to call it was dry more than passion, whatever word you want to use. But then there came a point that wasn't enough. But it was through the doing, and I didn't stop. I came close. I came really, really close to shutting everything down. But I just kept going, doing stuff, because you got to do it. You said you were going to do it. Woohoo. Yeah, that's what it felt like.
Push,
Woo,
push,
oh,
push.
yeah, you know. And then through that, found something that has given me back that drive and that passion. But it was through the doing that it happened. So
Right.
I'm hoping I heard you correctly.
Yeah, no, you did. That's fine. And like anything else, it's nothing wrong with what I say. You interpret it, and we come together, and it's better explained. So I'm always open to suggestions, and I think everybody should be. And that's a lot of problem. A lot of times people, I just want to do it this way. Yeah, but maybe somebody else who has a little more experience, who's been there a while, like what you've accomplished. I want to follow you. I want to follow the leaders. And that's kind of what I've been doing lately, just listening to a lot of these other people out there who are succeeding. And it's like, and yes, the repetition thing did come into play for me because I almost got to the point of like listening for several hours a day to stuff to people that weren't even online when I was first online, and they went past and they've succeeded. So
Oh,
I
yeah,
don't
and
care how old they are.
Yeah.
I'm going to follow them
it's
all
just
the way.
you tell me, RJ, how annoying is that? I've been online since '95, and this upstart from 3 years ago just goes, wait a minute.
I know, right?
One of
It's funny.
yeah.
I had a couple moments where I was on there for a few minutes, but probably officially I got online probably around 2000. But I was doing marketing and all other stuff using the internet, but not even knowing a computer. So I had a Commodore, what 60 was it or
One of the
give me a break.
Brian's
All
quotes.
right, so I had a Commodore 64, my brother,
Right.
and then I had,
Brian's,
and then I taught myself BASIC on the compact personal computer.
Okay, yeah, basic. Yep, I did basic.
And then I moved up to the
Right.
286.
Oh, look out.
The monitor
I was on the Trash 80 when I first learned computers. I was actually went to college for what they call data processing, which I didn't know at the time was programming.
Well, you had the
Yeah.
cards.
Oh wow! I just wish when I graduated I went to Washington or went to California.
Gone someplace.
Not New York for a little while.
Yeah, yes, though I was doing all of that marketing and everything for everybody else. Now I can do it for myself. But let's go back to this. Those of us that were doing it for others or participating in others set the stage for somebody 2 to 3 years ago and today to step in, recognize the opportunity, and move forward with what they're doing. So we all play a part in somebody else's success, and that's why I was laughing, because this has happened where I've said, "You got online when 2 years ago," and really, and then
I know you're saying. Yeah, I had that moment too, more than one time.
Everything's there, and you don't have those preconceived anchors that I have, that I'm trying to throw off. I, recognize it for what it is, which is great. You're awesome. Go for it. Now follow you. That's fabulous.
To add to Brian's comment before I hop out, just the idea of continuously living with fear. I saw some leadership image. It was like a car, and then there was fear in front of it and fear behind it. And I think part of overcoming fear is actually having awareness that the fear is in front of you, because I think a lot of people sort of run from it. So it's always kind of nipping at their behind, and they don't really have awareness of it. So a part of facing that fear and having the self-confidence to just do the activity, knowing you have the potential to overcome it, is having the awareness that fear is hindering you in the first place. That's what I was thinking.
Excellent point, Matt.
Okay.
I got to hop out too. Actually, I got to go to work myself. So, but hey, this is great. I hope you guys got Matthew. Good job, man. Young guy,
thanks.
keep it up.
Absolutely.
I don't care how old I look. Okay, whatever. I'm actually a lot younger, but no, just kidding.
It was just
my brain. No, but I commend the young people. They're doing great, and I'm following them because they're succeeding.
Absolutely. And they have the energy now. We don't have that energy, right, RJ?
Close along. Right. Well, have yourself a wonderful day, okay? Thanks so much, Charlie.
Thank you, RJ. It was a pleasure meeting you. Hope to see you again. So, hi, Michelle. Cindy, saw you come in. And New York, Kambuka. Welcome. Empty seat. Come on in. Let's talk about that self-confidence formula. Any experiences you might have had of telling yourself something so much that you actually believed it when it really wasn't true? Little, big? because it's the little things that can trip us up sometimes as well, isn't it? You know? I mean, sometimes we can expand things to be bigger than what they actually are. So somebody jump in, talk to me. Coming soon, okay. Okay, Zainab. I'll give you a few moments. I know some of you are driving, and I know some of you are listening only because you're at work, and I appreciate that. I appreciate that you're joining us at all. It's a Friday morning. It's a beautiful day here in southern Indiana, and I'm feeling overall pretty good. Could be worse, has been worse. Yesterday was worse. Yesterday was a physical day that was not good. It's been a long time since I've had a bad physical day. Well, I know there's one or two of you in here that understand fully what I'm about to say, that the body betrayed me. How annoying was that? Yeah. So, Brian, please don't ever stop looking for me. I took that as a compliment. I took that as a compliment when you contacted me and said, where are you? Oh, I looked for you. And then you came back and said, oh, it's Saturday. You're not there. Well, how wonderful that you look for me in the morning. I appreciate that. Yeah, Brian, I knew you would get that about the body. Yeah. Mine doesn't. Mine at one time betrayed me a lot, every single day. A long time of work and effort and what have you. And yesterday was a day that it said it needed to pay. I needed to pay attention to it. And I was like, well, it wasn't fun, but it was interesting. So. Got through it. Today's much better. Today is much better. And I can tell you that, let's bring in what we've been talking about here. One of the reasons why the changes that were made in my body occurred was because I believed that it could happen. Now, what I mean by that is that for many years I was on very heavy medications. And I call them heavy. Any medication to me is heavy. All right, let's put it that way. I hate drugs. I don't like putting something in my body. I'm very sensitive to drugs. Oh, for God's sakes. I go to the dentist. He prescribes me 0.25 milligrams of Xanax. It almost knocks me out. Okay. And had a procedure once, and they used Seconal. And they said it didn't take, but we didn't have to count. I said, yeah, I told you. We didn't have to use that much. I know, I'm that sensitive, right? So, and then I've had procedures over the years where they've said that it'll just put you in a state of you're not going to care what happens. That I don't know what that is, because whatever they gave me just knocked me out. I'm gone, which is great. I don't remember a thing. Woohoo! So anyway, so I was in a lot of physical pain. I learned pain management on my own, took care of things as needed to be taken care of, was diagnosed in 2000, and then up until, this is 2015, so up through to 2011, it's almost 11 years, I was on a regimen of a variety of medications and tackling symptoms and everything else. But all throughout, I was talking to the doc about there has to be a better way. I will not be tied to these medications. I just won't do it. We can't afford it. And it cannot be good for the body. I'm putting synthetic stuff through my system. I was on IVs and everything else. And I just, how ick, It was just, so I set my mind to, there has to be something different. My doc supported that. He was very much about, well, if you can find a holistic treatment for the symptoms you have, so be it. You go forth and you do. And so I did. And I started researching and talking with people, making changes in the diet, making changes in my life. And then in 2008, I started my own business and a different kind of stress, but it wasn't the kind of stress that had helped to get me the sickness that I had. And I believe that combined with my consistent daily efforts, that what I did essentially was consistent exercise, and it replaced pretty much everything that I drank with either coffee, all right, so I do have my coffee in the morning, and then water throughout the rest of the day. And then this green smoothie concoction I came up with. And it took a couple of years, and then I started weaning myself off of these medications, told the doc, who in turn, of course, I had to tell the insurance, we won't get into all that. But then he had to tell me, he said, if you completely remove yourself from these medications, you're taking a chance that should you have a relapse, your insurance won't cover it because you will not have continued the treatment that we set down. And I said, then I'm going to take that chance. Because I'm not going to live in the fear of the what if, of the maybe or what if when it comes to this body. And so he again supported me and watched me and everything else. And then I became completely medication free about 4 years ago. And yesterday was the first indication that I need to take a look at everything I am doing, because the body is telling me something. And so that's what I'll be doing today and over the next few days, to see what else I can do and how I can put some, what is in my control is my thoughts. That's what got me through the years before. And then today, I know this. Napoleon Hill is telling us this. My own experience shows this to be true. What I tell myself is what I believe. And I told myself, this will happen. That one-track mind that I have and the capacity for actually is handy sometimes, and that's where it was really handy for me. So Brian, prescribed from gerbil ovaries. I had a non-debilitation stroke. Now I take nothing but a good attitude and work on that attitude. Yeah. And there's good experiences with medication as well. I am not here in any way, shape, or form to say anything other than my own experience and story. I know many who, without the assistance of modern medicine and modern chemistry, would be completely flat out incapable of participating in the world. I'm not one of them. I'm very grateful for that. Very grateful for that. Hey, Leanna, good to see you here. Jack came in and you're gone again. All right, that's cool. Zainab, let's see if we can get you in here.
Are we working? Can you hear me?
I can hear you just fine.
Hello.
Just fine. Hello, dear. Good to see you.
How are you?
I'm okay. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
Excellent.
I just find it really fascinating thinking about how much your confidence depends on how you think. Because especially when it's really interesting, like if you go through your life thinking that you can just do something, like, there's people who are just gifted at doing things, and you can go through your life thinking that you would just be able to do things, and then you just don't quite realize that, I think it kind of really makes you appreciate how hard other people have to work. Like, sometimes you don't appreciate how easily things come to you. So obviously everyone has something that comes easily to them, I think, most of the time. But it's really interesting to actually see. I think for me, it's really made me appreciate the work that other people do, because you kind of forget that every single thing that you do takes effort, and some people actually have to put so much more, they have to train their thoughts a lot more to be able to get at the same place as you are. But you kind of
sure. I think it boils down to recognizing what it is you want to do. Because I didn't have any confidence in the things that came easily to me in expressing it to the world. I mean, I twisted everything in this head of mine. I just did, and some things, as you said, come so easily we don't even think about it. And when I'm challenged and I'm able to get through the challenge, my self-confidence skyrockets. And that is when I have a real appreciation for what you just said, that appreciation for what somebody else has just accomplished. When I've gone through it myself, not even the same thing, but just achieved something, or I made it through something, or I did it, I learned something new, or what have you. My self-confidence is way up here now, but at the same time, I'm seeing the achievements of others and appreciating what they're doing. That's what I heard you say, what I'm thinking myself.
Yes.
Okay.
that is exactly what I meant. But yeah, I think it's just
Hi, Pammy.
just having that appreciation, I think, is just awesome, because it's really easy just to to compare yourself, and I find that it's so bad. It's so bad, because obviously, like, you may be the same age or you may not be the same age. I think the thing that always gets me is the fact that everyone is completely different and everyone's on a completely different journey, and like, you literally can't compare yourself to other people, but you still do.
But you have to. I mean, it's part of being human. You know, you have to, because especially when you're younger, and younger being anything under 25. And I'm just picking a random age, anything under 25, and that's because you can't just set somebody on a path in the world, put you out into the world, and expect you not to compare yourself to anybody. You have to. There has to be a base by which I measure myself, and it can't all come from inside, because I don't have the experience or the knowledge or the ability to see in somebody else where that comparison should come from. I don't have that until I've actually started experiencing things, and I'm seeing somebody else, and I'm inspired or motivated to do more because of what I'm seeing somebody else do, instead of saying that, you know how we can do, right? We can go into the negative. Oh, they're so good, I'll never be that good, so I'm just not going to do anything. Or look how good they are at that. I can appreciate how good they are. I really want to be that good. So now I'm motivated to do more, or to focus more on what it takes to be better at whatever it is that I'm looking at. I think that is perfect. I think it's normal and natural as a human. It's when we put a magnifying glass to parts of it, so that becomes the end-all be-all type of thinking, and if we become very narrow focused on that comparison, and we turn it into a negative, which stops us from growing.
Because I think the only reason why I think comparison can be is bad is just when you try and put your progress against someone else's. So obviously, like, you may want to get to the same place as them, but that doesn't mean you're going to be. It doesn't ever mean that you're going to be side by side.
Right. So that's that. How do we handle discouragement and disappointment?
As in,
how
or
do
even
we handle that?
I think because it's just the fact that sometimes, like, especially if you're growing up with someone, and at some point they just put their extra mile in, they go further. But obviously, you've become so used to how things were that you kind of it's almost there's a battle between wanting to be how you used to be, where you were the same, but also thinking it's amazing that they've actually managed to do something that's actually put them so much further forward. So it's a bit of a balancing thing, I think.
Oh yeah, that to me is a part of living. It's just recognizing it. Trust me, if I could be my little brother, life would be so good. He is very focused, very personality-wise, the way we think, we're two peas in a pod. The way our lives turned out are very, very different, and our approach to things are very, very different. But also, he's the younger brother. So I just look at him, and the realization is that, my parents had 6 years of practice on me and the other kid. You came along, and things were pretty much set. You were, didn't have the kind of issues we had. We didn't have, and we didn't, completely different lives. Because we moved around a lot, I can say that. I went to 4 grade schools and 4 high schools. He went to 2 grade schools and 2 high schools. And he was able to graduate. He got into the last high school, again, the freshman year, so it was like the same high school for him. Completely different experience. Completely different, right? And I'm happy for him. I really am. He's a great guy. And my middle brother, he's a great guy. And they've got awesome families, and I'm happy for them. I fully understand what you're talking about when you're talking about a sibling. That everything, it's constantly shifting, and then there's that moment when everything's just right, and I don't want you to change, I don't want you to change. You went ahead of me, right?
Because it's so interesting for me, because I have a twin, so it's literally direct comparison. Because
I have no idea what that's like.
Because it's literally like because we have no other siblings, so it's literally just us two. So it's not like you were saying that we've gone through exactly the same experience almost. So it's really interesting to see because in a sense of like mindset, we're both pretty motivated, but we go about things in very different ways because we both have different interests, and that means that we sort of spend our time doing different things. But it's just really interesting to be able to just to see the shift in your mindset when you actually, because sometimes you just go through like imagine, exactly as you were saying, imagine things are set and you just don't want things to change, but then they do. And I think that's really good though, as we've said like ages and ages ago, just change is really good just to get you boosted and get you motivated.
It is. So I have to ask, are you identical or fraternals?
No, we're not identical twins, but people still get us mixed up.
They do. They still get you close enough, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, what I've noticed, what I do know about a couple of sets of twins I know that are identical is just one set very distinctly different personalities that actually affects how they look as they grew up. They truly were identical boys until they hit their teen years.
Oh my.
And then because of their personalities, you could see, just look at them. Anybody who meets them sees, oh, they're brothers. Oh, they're twins. Oh, well, that's interesting because they are. And then there's another set of twins that I know that still today, and they're women. They're in their 40s, could easily replace one or the other.
Oh my.
Yeah. So that's why I just wondered. That's from a complete outsider's point of view. We don't have twins in the family. And there's Pammy saying that she's always said her younger twin sisters are you split in half. Oh, your poor parents. Or awesome for the parents. So tell me, Zaina, what do you think about the self-confidence formula? About what Napoleon Hill is telling us is that the principle is that we can tell ourselves anything. If we say it often enough, we're going to believe it. What I'm putting in there is, so why don't we just put something positive and just say it regularly so that we can believe that? And then he goes further about actually taking action from that. And the action is what builds self-confidence. What do you think of that?
I think especially when you think you're like competing with other people, I think it does become a matter of self-confidence. Like there's not really any reason why you can't do it, but I think I recently actually tried to talk myself in the mirror, and I you hear about people doing that, but I don't think I actually realized how powerful it is to actually see yourself talking to yourself about yourself. Like for some reason, like it's one thing like talking to yourself, but I think sometimes visualizing it, like you can like saying something confidently and actually seeing yourself look confident in a way, like it has an effect. And I do think that but I think at the same time you do have to do that regularly. You have to do that enough to make sure that you really instill it in yourself. Otherwise it's like I always find that I sort of especially on a day-to-day basis, you can fluctuate quite a bit depending on what happens. And like you might have like a bad day, and like, sometimes that can just bring you down for the day. But that can, if you let that get you down, then you'll keep going down. And that's, you have to make sure that you're constantly pushing yourself forwards and not letting yourself get down.
I like what you said is that and so yesterday I had a bad physical day, and it affected me in my own thoughts and mentally for a short time. It was frustration hit. Gosh, all these years, really now, really, and then I started getting a little angry because this was not part of my plan. And those who know me know that you deviate from my plan, you're going to people, places, and things, if you just do what I think you should do, right? And so it started to happen, and it didn't take long, though. Really didn't take long before I recognized it, and I said it out loud. I said, yes, I'm frustrated. Yes, I so wish it were different, but you know what? At the moment, it's not. So what am I going to do about it? Well, what can I do about it? What I could do about it was to accommodate the needs of the body, and to take care of what needs to be in terms of a little bit of therapy and what needed to happen. But mentally, what I could do is put myself back in a state of, well, okay, so I cannot physically do what kind of planned I was going to do today. What can I do instead? What can I do? And I did. And that's what had got me through all the years of the physical issues was, okay, I can't at the moment what I have in front of me. But what can I do instead? And constant shifting, which is stressful itself. So I'm very grateful I don't have to do that all the time anymore. But that's the way I tackled it. And that's what happened yesterday. And it's the same thing as what you just said, was recognizing that this is where I am, and so what can I do instead? And pull myself up and out. And it's the thoughts, right?
I think I haven't experienced any prolonged type of illness, so in that way I can't relate. But one thing I do relate to is sometimes like when something pops up and you don't expect it. But I think something that I've personally struggled with is just making use of the time that I have, because it's sometimes very easy to believe that, oh no, you've only got like half an hour, you can't do anything with this time, and that's really it's really bad, because you end up just wasting this time that you could have actually done something really good with. But it's just making the best with everything that you have, and actually realizing that you can be grateful and actually really use what you've got. You've not lost everything after all, have you?
That's right. And you are so right. Please don't compare anything except the principle, which is that we feel a particular way and we don't like it. We're thinking a particular way and we don't like it. Well, let's change it, because we can. So as you said, well, I've only got 30 minutes. What the heck can I do in 30 minutes? You'd be amazed at what you can do in 30 minutes. Am I right?
Yeah, even just like sometimes it can be the fact that you think that something, like you have like a project to do and it's like it's really big. You're not going to be able to do it in half an hour, but you can still like start planning it, and like you don't realize how many hurdles you can come over in just that short time. It's amazing what time can do, really.
It is. And so one of the things that I've started saying, I could say I've always said this, there was a time when I was in the camp or in the group that said, time management is my issue. And it wasn't that long ago when I don't even call it that. It's me management. What it is. And I was talking with somebody who calls himself a time management expert, and I wasn't poo-pooing what she does, because she's a productivity expert and fantastic at it. Very organized. I mean, a professional organizer, beyond organized. It's like, think of a hoarder, somebody who hoards everything, and now think of the opposite. The organized hoarder. It was just crazy. But she kept talking about time management. And I said, in all honesty, the way I view it is it's more me management. And it just struck a real chord with her. And she says, actually, that's what I'm doing. Because I'm trying to teach people how to manage themselves better so that more things get done more efficiently. And that's what you and I are talking about. And one of the ways we can do that is how we think about what we're doing, how we think about ourselves. That if we tell ourselves that we're a mess, that we are unorganized, of course we are. We're just basically recognizing that which we are. Well, then stop. If you don't want to be that way anyway, stop. Tell yourself you're different. You'll start to believe it, and things will happen. Tammy, mind over matter. Because if I don't mind, it doesn't matter, does it? Sorry. I'm in a mood today. I'm feeling yesterday.
Oh, don't worry about it. I've done exactly the same thing. Just when things just come out of your mouth and you don't quite know why they're coming out of your mouth, but you just do anyway.
Yeah, editing wasn't in place. Sorry.
That's right.
Hi, Bob. Hi, Cam. It's good to see you. Sorry you jumped in right. That happened. Aaron, you stuck in here. Good to see you, my friend. I'm glad you're here. Richard, glad you're here. So anybody want to jump in and join Zainab and me? Talking about, that self-confidence formula that really, truly we can change the way we think about ourselves, which can in turn into action that affects the feelings, and then we've got the cycle going in a different direction. Aaron, back in the garage. Is the sun up yet, my friend?
It's 2 minutes till 6. My workout doesn't start till 6:15 this morning.
Well,
And
so glad you could join us. Good to see you.
I caught kind of the last end of your thing about, the physical. Of course, I can't get up at 5. I'm in the West Coast. But that's so true when you start telling yourself something. Like I got pretty major back and neck issues. And for the longest time, I was, I can't do that. I can't do that. My new fitness habit, my trainer isn't, you can't do that. He's like, oh, you can do that other thing. Oh, you can't do that? Let's do this other thing. And so, honestly, I was scared before I started this whole process. And it took a little step of courage to say, okay, I'm going to try.
Mm-hmm.
And now going every day, 5 days a week, that's building my confidence, and just by me telling myself, instead of saying, I can't do those things, I'm telling myself, well, I can do those things. And so I do those things. And I get better at those things. And all these things that I have less in my brain telling me I can't do it, I'm finding that, well, I can do it for 1 minute or 2 minutes or 3 minutes. And that's, now I'm starting to say, okay, I don't have to be courage anymore, because I know I'm not afraid, because I can do it for 2 minutes. Now I can do it for 3 minutes. Now I can do it for 5 minutes. And that builds my confidence, more than a statement that I'm spinning, but now I take action. 1 minute, 2 minutes. And I just felt that you're recording. I figured I'd jump in. I know I'm working on the public speaking.
Fantastic, Aaron. You just succinctly stated the entire piece that we were talking about. 3 pages, you put it into a minute or so, which is terrific. Terrific. Well done. So how's the feeling? How's your back and neck? Still having those issues and just working around them, or is that improving because of what you're doing? I'm curious. Total just curiosity.
They are still there, but they are improving.
Okay. Excellent.
So I'm still, there's not anything I'm going to get up and be like, oh.
You're not going to get up and dance the Watusi anytime soon, right?
Maybe the 2-step.
Okay, well, you better watch it. It's on recording. Now we're going to ask you to do a 2-step. Any day now, we're going to see. Yes, there you go. There you go. No lack of self-confidence there. All right, so we are at the top of the hour. I'm going to shut down the recording part, and then we will keep the room open and continue the conversation, okay? So I want to thank everybody who's joined me in the live stream. That would be RJ Willis and Matt and Zainab and Aaron. So good to see you. Thank you, everybody in the comments section, for participating in the discussion about the self-confidence formula and what we think we have control over. So why not replace those things that are stopping us, those thoughts that stop us, and replace them with thoughts that can get us moving forward and doing what we really, really want to be doing. So this is Charlene Burke with Grow Because You Know. That's www.growbecauseyouknow.com. Let's move forward with the day on purpose, with purpose, to grow our hearts, grow our minds, and grow our businesses.